the way from Texas.
Yes, I lived in Texas for 3 years.
All right. So give us the background here. You were born a small child where?
I was born actually in Missouri.
Okay.
And lived in Missouri for quite a few years, and then moved out to Oregon, where I met my wife.
Okay.
And lived out.
They didn't have women in Missouri?
No, my parents moved out there. My dad worked we cleaned churches and mowed lawns for a living, and my dad got a job cleaning a post office.
Oh, wow.
And he worked his way up to a mail carrier, and we moved out to Pasco, Washington, because he got transferred out there for a job improvement.
Is that near the ocean, or is that
that was in Hanford Nuclear Power Plant. It's right in kind of the center of Washington, of the state of Washington.
Okay. All right.
And lived there for 2 years, and then we moved down to a little town called Umapine, Oregon. Umapine, Oregon was smaller than here. It was out very rural. I had 6 kids in my graduating class in high school. We had K through 12 with 78 kids. And they closed the school the year after I graduated because they just couldn't do any better than me. They said, we give up.
I know. Okay, time out. There were 6 of you in the graduating class.
3 girls, 3 boys. I dated 2/3 of my class.
There you go. I want to ask which 2/3. So were you valedictorian?
No.
Oh, no!
Not
You had
at
a
all.
1 in 6 opportunity.
I majored in ag and basketball.
Okay, gotcha.
Matter of fact, when my ag teacher told me one time, he said, "Hey, you should apply for a scholarship," because I wanted to go to college to be an auto body mechanic.
Okay.
And I said, okay. So I went up to the science teacher, who said, she was in charge of the scholarships.
Right.
And we had one scholarship to go to a school over in Pendleton, Oregon. And I said, I'd like to apply for the scholarship. And she threw her head back and laughed.
Well, I used to get kicked out when I would throw that kind of thing at a teacher. Okay, so graduated high school.
Yes.
And went where?
I went to work for Smith Cannery Frozen Foods as a mechanic, and I worked on pea combines, swathers. We peed all summer. We worked on pea combines, corn. We picked sweet corn.
You fit right in here.
We picked green beans.
Right.
It was a cannery, and we sold a lot of our product to Campbell Soup.
Okay.
And I worked in the field, and that's where I actually first realized that college was maybe a possibility.
This sweating out here in the field ain't exactly what I had in mind.
No, I got hired on as a mechanic to work on the actual combines in the field.
Right.
And when they broke down, I got to work on them and fix them. And I had a crew of about 27 kids that we hired from college to drive the combines in the summertime for summer employment. And I was working on those combines. I talked to those kids, and I go, I could fix this combine, and these guys don't even know how the combine works. So I think I could go to college.
Well, and college kids driving a combine in the summer, a combine that doesn't belong to them, I'm sure you were very busy as the mechanic in the field.
Yes. Yeah, they had a little red light on them, and so when they broke down, they turned on the red light. So we chased red lights around the field all night.
I won't say it, Shannon. I'm thinking it, but
I can tell.
I'm not going to say it. All right, so you decided to get out of that. That was not the field you wanted, right?
No, was not.
So you went to college.
Well, actually, I love being a mechanic.
Right.
I still work on my vehicles today. And I was actually working for Smith Cannery Frozen Foods, and on the weekends, I was going and repairing tugs at a local airline called it was called Cascade Airways.
Okay.
And they had a bunch of ground support equipment, and I would go there and fix their ground support equipment on the weekend. And one Sunday afternoon, after we got done eating, we went to the director of maintenance, and I went to the airport terminal building to discuss me fixing their fuel truck.
Okay.
And so we're sitting there talking, and these 6 guys walk in white shirts and blue pants, and I said, and they started drinking beer and eating hamburgers,
Having fun.
And I was like, those guys, you let them drink beer before they go to work? And he goes, no, they're off. And I go, what do they do? And he goes, they're aircraft mechanics. And I go, they're not even dirty. And he goes, oh no, it's a really clean job. So within 3 months.
I'll have some of that.
That's exactly what I said. I said, I want that. I said, how do I do that? And he goes, well, you got to go to college and you got to get a degree in airframe power plant.
Oh, wow.
And so I married my wife.
Right.
We got married. She graduated from high school in May.
She didn't know what you were doing for your living, though, right?
Well, no, her dad actually worked at the same cannery that I worked at.
Okay.
And so she and I got married, and we bought a 8 by 27 foot travel trailer.
There you go.
And we moved 2,000 miles back to Missouri to go to aircraft maintenance school in Lynn, Missouri.
Okay. Now, a Beatles song is coming to mind here. The Long and Winding Road.
That's exactly right.
All right, so now you're freshly married. You're going to college. Which school?
Lynn Tech in Lynn, Missouri.
Okay, all right. And from there you worked?
From there I went to work for the airlines.
Okay.
And I worked for Resort Air, Cascade Airways. I worked for Horizon Airlines, Alaska Airlines. And back to the Pacific Northwest, worked around the Pacific Northwest, spent some time in Montana, Washington, Oregon, Alaska, repairing the airplanes, and did that up till the early 90s.
Okay.
And then I decided that I wanted to be self-employed. So I started a company. And did that for 12 years.
Aircraft industry?
No, it was totally a different industry.
Hold on, it just turned again.
Turned again.
Hold on. Yeah, stop. I want to get off. All right, I'll see y'all next turn.
You're going to need a boarding pass to get back on, I assure you.
So I started my company. I did construction too. I owned a construction company, plus I owned a vending company, pop candy, coffee, bottled water.
Yeah.
And owned that for 12 years, sold that, and decided to go back to college and get my bachelor's and master's degree.
Okay.
I got involved in some politics out in the Pacific Northwest too.
All right.
So that was another driving force to go back to school.
Gotcha.
So I had 4 kids at that time.
Oh, God.
And we sold our 3,200 square foot house and our businesses, and we loaded up a 27-foot motorhome.
Here we go again.
Yeah, and a U-Haul trailer and a U-Haul truck, and we took off back to Missouri to go to school at Central Missouri State University, which is now the University of Central Missouri.
Okay.
And did my bachelor's and master's degree there, and I did some TA teaching and just fell in love with teaching, and taught aviation mechanics, aviation flight and auto mechanics there, and got an opportunity to go back to Washington, D.C., so we loaded up the motorhome again.
To Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, went to Washington, D.C. Went to Washington, D.C., and was an advisor for John McCain.
Okay.
On the Transportation Commerce Committee.
Okay.
On aviation, rails, gas lines.
Right.
And
he would be very familiar, having been a fighter pilot.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he was great to work for, and worked for him for quite a while, for the summer. And when the Republicans lost control of the Senate, the university that I graduated from invited me to come back and run their aviation maintenance program and to teach. And so we loaded up the motorhome, moved back to Missouri, and we stayed there for 5 years while I taught the university. And one thing I learned in Washington, D.C., which is kind of a funny story, was I either wanted to, after I was in Washington, D.C., I found out I needed to have a PhD or a law degree. And so we went back to Missouri, I took the job, and my kids were in school, they loved it there. And I said, well, I'm going to go to either law school or I'm going to get a PhD. And my kids did not want to move because I was going to have to move to Cheyenne, Wyoming to do my law degree.
And here goes that motorhome again.
Exactly. And they just had too many trips to that motorhome. So they said, no, we don't want to do that. So we literally flipped a coin, and I said, heads, we stay here and I do a PhD. Tails, we go to Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Yeah.
And so what we ended up doing was heads won, and I did my PhD.